Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 745. Rory wins the Masters. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. Frank joins us with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going pretty well. I think this might be a slightly historic recording in that the Big Chill curse might have been broken. The Duca curse might have been broken. You said going into the Masters you wanted Rory to win. He did his best to lose it, but he managed to survive the hoodoo.
Yeah, it was a few talking points to discuss about that. I mean, obviously, I'm super happy for Rory. I think there are times in sports where you're like, that guy deserved that, and he definitely deserved that win. That's a lot for him, and I think it definitely means a lot for him. And you could tell afterwards what it meant emotionally. We talked, what was that, 2 episodes ago, about how you're tired of tennis players falling to the ground to celebrate a victory just because it seems like that's what you have to do to celebrate a victory.
Good. Does Bill Simmons listen to the podcast? Have you listened to his latest episode?
I heard this morning. He literally said the same thing. And I was like, dude, I think he listens to us.
I think Bill Simmons, this is the 4th or 5th time that a week or two after we have a point, the Simmons, he's worried about the aggregators. I'm worried about the Siminator just listening to the podcast.
Have we exposed a huge Simmons theory where he's getting all of his takes by listening to lower listened to sports podcasts?
Yeah, clearly. But he literally was, exactly the same point. And I will say this, I think I'm in not only a minority, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this. And he's not a huge tennis fan. So for that to be his go-to is the lack of genuine reaction to winning things, to be the tennis players dropping to the ground. I agree with him. Rory did seem kind of overcome by the emotion, but that's often the case in golf. I think
but you could tell I think you could tell the entire final round, especially the last few holes, it meant a lot to him. Like, he was showing, for a guy who doesn't show much emotion and is generally pretty stoic. I mean, maybe that comes with also last podcast we talked about the differences in emotions of Americans versus UK. I mean, he's pretty stoic for the most part. You could tell he was kind of getting worked up and down throughout those last few holes, but there was definitely a lot of emotion in there. But the other thing I'll say, just to piggyback off your Simmons not really knowing much about tennis, he then made the absolute terrible error of being like, now are there players who haven't won major things that should? And first he picked out Alcaraz, who is still extremely young to say get the monkey off his back, but has already won a major.
Yeah, no, I mean, hugely successful for someone of his age. Like, the only thing you could say is, if you were trying to look for the Rory parallel, could you see a future where Alvarez, does what Rory McIlroy did of winning several in the first 5-6 years of his career and then not winning anything? But, that's making a very bold prediction about what the future of Carlos Alcaraz's career looks like. But yeah, not to do a recap of the Bill Simmons podcast, but there was that conversation of, are there any other sports where you're sort of in your own head for those extended periods of time? And it's definitely true. But I mean, tennis is also an example of that, which they kind of got onto a little bit, but where you do have in between points and the chance to think, oh God, I really just messed that up. That was break point. I needed to take that there, or I was just broken really stupidly. Now it's a change of ends and I need to sit down for 90 seconds while I think about how dumb that was. But yeah, the Masters threw up a lot of talking points. I will say the one that I found the least interesting, and I don't necessarily know if Bryson...
I know what it's going to be.
DeChambeau was trying to start something.
Can I guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Is that Rory and Bryson didn't talk throughout the entire 4th round?
Yeah, and I don't know necessarily if he was trying to frame that as, oh, he didn't talk to me. Maybe he just meant it in the genuine way of, he was so focused we didn't talk.
I think that's the media spinning that out of control.
He did seem a little salty because he did say, I wouldn't do that. So there was he seemed pretty locked in.
But you know what? Bryson's an asshole. Like, and that's one of the major talking points I want to have on this. But just finishing up that, I think that was the media spinning it, because there was a clip, I think, that also came out of them on the driving range, and Rory made a comment about how he had beaten Rory in the US Open or whatever. And then Bryson turned to him and said, well, actually, you kind of beat yourself on that one, and like, you could tell they were slightly friendly. So I don't think it was like this major hatred, and that's why they didn't talk to each other. I think that was slightly blown out of context.
Wait. Oh man, that's almost as impressive of a revelation. Final dig at the Bill Simmons podcast of Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy being friends, and also Tommy Fleetwood, and the fact that they met him on the 18th green, and like, oh my God, the shocking insight that some golfers are friends with each other, especially when they're two Irish guys. Who would have thought? But anyway, no, yeah, that one to me, I think it's insightful. It's like, it's interesting to know in terms of the mindset that Rory McIlroy may have had in that moment. And look, Tony Finau came out and said when Tiger Woods won the Masters in 2019, that Tiger Woods did not say a word to Tony Finau in the entire final round. And he was actually disappointed, because for him then, that was the experience of playing a final round at the Masters with Tiger Woods. And the fact that you then had zero interaction, that's different, because then you sort of feel like you grew up watching this guy. I hope I get some little story I can tell for the rest of my life of the thing Tiger Woods said to me on the 15th.
But he bitched me out. When he turned around and said, wish you could fucking hit that, don't you?
Or rather, I think something nice. But yeah, no, like, I'm sure it's not uncommon for golfers, especially because for certainly the front nine, that felt like match play. It then got Bryson completely dropped away, and then other people came into it. But for the first half of that final round, you felt like this is Bryson versus Rory. So you'd play it like you were in match play, which is, I'm not going to be friendly with you if that's not my default position. Like, I want there to be tension. I want you to feel pressure. I don't want to just make this as comfortable as possible for you. But yeah, I think it's a storm in a team cup.
Yeah. So one of the main talking points was Bryson DeChambeau, and I texted you off podcast, obviously, about going into that final round, saying that I think a lot of people would be backing Bryson over Rory. I think, one, because for some reason now a lot of people like Bryson DeChambeau, and then two, obviously Rory not being American at the Masters is going to be something. It didn't actually seem like that. It seemed, well, I'll say this. I think Masters fans, patrons, are pretty fair weather in that they'll just root for literally anything to be like on the winning side of rooting for whatever, which is pretty pathetic. But, and then maybe it's kind of respectable in a way that they're at least acknowledging that Rory did deserve that. But maybe not as much Bryson fans as I thought. But still, I don't understand this transformation he's made. He must have one hell of like a managerial team and publicist and spin team. And I know a lot of it's got to do with that stupid fucking YouTube series that he did. And maybe it's
YouTube
literally
channel.
just because whatever. Maybe Americans are just so dumb in the sense that they watch YouTube all day, and that's what changes them into like being fans of something. It's like, oh my God, he did a YouTube channel. Now I love him. All I do is watch YouTube. He's an asshole. Everything he says is so douchey. Like, even when they asked him, I forget what the question was. It was something about like, in your mind when you're going through playing that round and it was a tough round, and what do you think? He's like, oh, I'm going through like 50, hundreds of swings in my head every time I'm taking a shot. Like, you can't even imagine how many different permutations are going on in my head. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, Tiger Woods never said that, and we know Tiger Woods was the most like insanely like sophisticated player. Like, you when you saw his house and he has 8,000 different clubs that he's tweaking and trying, like, he didn't come out in interviews and say these like elaborate things to make himself sound so sophisticated of a golfer. Like, just shut up. You had a bad round. Shut up.
All right.
It drives me insane.
Someone's a little worked up today.
No, I just hate the fact about how people can quickly forget just how annoying of a person he was 2 years ago even. And now all of a sudden, because he did a few YouTube videos with John Daly, shoeless, that now he's like the coolest guy on the planet.
I hope this is somewhat dispelling the myth that I'm the much more worked one out of the two of us, because I think it's just as easy to get you going. But look, I think part of it, I think golf fans consume a lot of golf related YouTube content because they are looking for advice. And I think one thing at least is that DeChambeau is like quite interesting to listen to in terms of the tips that he gives, because he does think about, like, for example, if you listen to Rory McIlroy give golf advice, if you're not really good at golf, the advice is meaningless, because it's basically coming from a guy who, yes, has a very high level understanding of what he's doing, but can't conceptualize not being good at what he's doing. And so the types of, it's as if, like, yeah, I could use your advice if I had perfect body control, a complete awareness of where, like, my hands are at all times, my club position, all of that. And if I can do that, then I probably wouldn't need your advice, is the reality. Whereas Bryson DeChambeau is like actually giving you, like, tuck your elbow in, rotate your arm, think about that, like, just think about keeping your arm in this position through the swing. It's stuff that you can take on board when you're actually not a particularly good golfer. And I think that's part of what's helped him. And also just the live golf disappearing has probably helped. Like, we don't see that much
Oh,
of
for
him.
sure.
And
You don't
so
hear the stupid things he says all the time.
yeah, so you kind of forget how annoying he was, because he only reappears for the majors basically. And in small doses, he's at least interesting because no one else plays golf quite like him. But it was a stark contrast in watching them, though, because the way he swings is ugly. Like, it's effective, but it's ugly. Whereas Rory McIlroy's swing is so beautiful to look at. It looks like you were watching, like, an amateur golfer who was just playing really, really well, and then a professional golfer on the other side. And I'm not doing that to sort of, obviously Bryson DeChambeau is an incredible golfer, but just visually,
But
like,
even the way he golfs is so annoying. Like his swing in general and the way he putts makes me just want to, like, slap him in the face. It is the shittiest looking putting form I've ever seen. Anyone who watches that is like, that's the guy I want to root for. You need to look at yourself in the mirror.
all right. Well, okay. Moving on from Bryson to the actual winner. I've got my interesting take on Rory McIlroy. I've always been a big Rory McIlroy fan, and I was very happy for him to win. So there's no hatred in this comment. But I do think, as much as yesterday was legacy defining for him in terms of becoming, completing the Grand Slam of golfing majors, I also think it's almost legacy limiting, in that the way he wins tournaments so often by like making mistakes, reopening the door. That should have been a cut. Scotty Scheffler wins that tournament by 5 shots yesterday. Tiger Woods wins by 7.
Teen.
Yeah. Rory manages to snatch snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, and snatch defeat from the jaws of victory multiple times per final round. I think that's somewhat what makes him endearing, because, again, as an amateur golfer, you do kind of watch it and go, like, I could make that mistake. Like, that actually is kind of, it humanizes him in a way that, say, Scotty Scheffler is like a robot. You just think, I could never play golf like him. Rory, you're like, I can't do the good things, but I can do the really dumb thing he just did.
Yeah.
I also would find the water if you told me all I needed to do was get up and down in 3 shots. I would chunk it into the water from 60 yards out too.
Yeah.
But I think we kind of see, in terms of, like, the tier of greatness, I can't put him tier 1, because his inability to sort of dominate in the same way that I would expect out of the very, very best, it's just not quite there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is similar to the other point I want to make is Rory clutch or extremely unclutch? Like, you could make an argument for both cases in that round. I mean, that shot he had on 16, 15, the par 5 to get into the eagle position, where he was starting to lose ground, and you thought for a second, like, he's going to blow this. And then he makes that amazing shot to go like 6 feet to the hole for an eagle. And you're like, holy crap, that was clutch. And then literally the next putt, he misses the eagle putt. That is a very makeable eagle. You're like, maybe he's not clutch. And then on 18, puts it in the bunker, makes a nice clutch bunker shot, which he is known for being good from the sand, makes a nice and you go, wow, he is clutch. Like, look at that. He needs to make par, and he just saved himself, and then literally misses another 5-footer. Like, oh shit, he is not clutch. He's a choke artist. Like, I don't know what he is, and I think not being able to know if he's clutch or not, I agree with you. That takes him out of that tier one, where I think part of being tier one is not only do you win a ton of tournaments, win a ton of money, win the big tournaments, but you are clutch, and clutch in the sense that you're almost slightly feared. You know, where in Tiger's heyday, when you played against Tiger on that Sunday, you were scared.
Well,
I think you could almost say the same with Scheffler. Like, if Scheffler has a lead on that last day, you're nervous because you're not going to be able to catch up.
well, yeah. So I think it's different though, because here's what I would say: I don't think Scheffler scares you. Rory scares you if it's you need to make a birdie on a par four that no one else has made a birdie on today. He'll do it. There's that sort of genius within him, but he'll make a mistake that no one else has made. I mean, he's the first player to win the Masters with 4 double bogeys. It's a revealing statistic to have in your first, and 2 of them came in the final round. And going back to the clutchness, it's funny, right? Because so much of it is based on, we treat it like it's binary and it really shouldn't be. So that was fundamentally a very unclutch final round. He had 2 double bogeys. He didn't play particularly well. He had some great shots within it, but he didn't play particularly well. And
well, he always has a bad round. We've said this before. He just waited to the last round to have it this time.
No, his first round was the really bad round. He was 7 shots off the lead at one point. There's not a lot of guys going back. Scotty Scheffler doesn't win the Masters if he's 7 shots behind at one point. That's a difference between them. There is an ability there of just, he has something within him where you can be like, I'm not really paying attention to McIlroy. He's 8 shots back on day 3. And then you're like, oh my God, he's 1 shot back going into the final round. That's a pretty remarkable element that he has. But I don't know. It's just, yeah, if Justin Rose makes 1 more putt, that's one of the biggest choke jobs in Masters history we're talking about. But because Justin Rose started his really good run 1 hole too late, or didn't quite hit the better shot in the playoffs, all of a sudden Rory McIlroy is not only clutch, but it's a legendary performance, and we can point to 3 or 4 shots from the final round. Him just chunking it into the water would go down as one of the iconic. It would be like the Justin Spieth when he did it, but he did it twice in a row, so I guess that was even worse. But it would have gone down as just an awful, awful golfing performance. And instead he survives it, and we'll just remember it with great fondness for, wow, he won that tournament 5 times, which is basically what he did over the course of the final round.
Yeah, I mean, up 4 with 9 holes left, that would have been one of the worst meltdowns in a long time.
Yeah. And also just lots of situations where it was just a case of just start making pars. Just play like course management questions that you would have afterwards with him. And again, I think it's part of the thing that's endearing is he kind of can't put away. There's like the devil on his shoulder, which is telling him, take it on, like go for it, drive the green. And it's kind of what's cool about watching him is there's the magic that you will get from that. And the contrast, the complete total opposite of him there is Scotty Scheffler, who would have just played by the numbers on that final 9 and would have won without any really memorable moments. You would have just gone, well, another dominant
center of fairway, center of green, 2-putt par,
not getting drive,
par,
not getting driver out. Driver goes away now. Don't need that anymore. Whereas like Rory is thinking, what's the best possible shot I could hit, and it's cool, but it's sort of stupid. But again, I think it's what a lot of amateur golfers would probably, obviously not with anywhere near the same skill level, but think that they do on a round of golf, which is, I would firmly be in the category of, I know I could shoot 5 shots better if I just decided not to take on the green, or went for the smart misses and all that type of stuff. But where's the fun in not hoping to put yourself 5 feet in the hole, and when there's really nothing on the line anyway. So who cares? But good for him that he won. But I also think cemented the fact that he is not in the list of absolute greats, although he obviously puts himself onto a pretty spectacular list of only 6 players to have won the career Grand Slam, and only two of, it's only him and Tiger who've done it in the modern era. So, like, it's cool that Ben Hogan did it in 1953. I don't know how much that actually relates to how challenging it is to do it in 2025.
Anything else then Masters related? So I'll just quickly go through what this means for Rory. So the winner for the Masters this year received obviously the custom fit green jacket, $4.2 million in prize money, honorary membership to Augusta National, gold medal and replica Masters trophy, lifetime invitation to the Masters, a locker in the Champions locker room, access to the members only driving range, and an annual invitation to the Champions dinner, for which next year he will set the menu.
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff is kind of crap, right? Like, I think it's shit that they don't become real members of the golf course. The fact that they still have to play with a full-time member whenever they want to play there, I think that's kind of stupid. Do you know what? I think it takes away slightly. I get it's part of the aura, but the fact that you get presented with your jacket and some of the people in the background are just random rich guys who are members of Augusta, who are sort of sitting there as if they can relate to the significance of your achievement because, they're the CEO of some Fortune 500 company. I think we could do without that. Let's just put the background, the actual, just the guys who've won it, and leave the members can go off to the side and have a nice view like the rest of the patrons. They're not any more special than anybody else. So yeah. Other talking points, quick Masters roundup. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool that you had 2 old guys do really well. Bernard Langer was
Just say
67.
more mature.
Well, he's 67 years old. I think that's by golfing standards he only missed the cut by 1 stroke. Fred Couples only missed by 2. He's 65. I always think that's
So I've seen Langer play a few years in a row at the nice Cologuard Classic in Tucson. He is still like a phenomenal player. Like you watch him, and the other thing I'll say about that is some of those players on that tour are literally just there for the paycheck, and that's fine. And I have no issue with that. Like obviously you've retired from professional golf, but you're still playing professional golf. So it's like really nice that you get to make money and do what you genuinely enjoy. But he is not just there for the paycheck. I mean, he's out there to win. And you can tell the difference in demeanor of some of those players. And he was definitely one that even in his 60s still wants to go out there and win every tournament.
Well, yeah, I mean, he kind of dominates the senior tour, but
yeah,
this was his final Masters. He said that he was done after this year. He'd announced that beforehand. So sort of cool that he signed off on a relative high. A shame that he couldn't make the cut. But I think that's also part of it. You must walk away from that feeling like, oh, maybe I should give it another
maybe
go.
one more year.
Because if I can basically make the cut, shouldn't I still be playing? And then the other big talking point was Nick Dunlap, who in the first round had the worst score it was since 1956, I think. He shot 18 over, which is just spectacularly bad. I mean,
did he make the cut?
There must be moments where you thought to yourself, I should just call it a day. Like, I don't think you can really do that in the Masters, but it must cross your mind when you're, 12, 13 over of, maybe, let me just pick this up and walk off the course.
I mean, yeah. What also do you think his playing partners are thinking at that point? It's got to be slightly affecting you as well.
Oh, yeah, because you got to be waiting around. It's impacting the people behind you who are also having to wait while you zigzag the golf course every hole and re-hitting, teeing it up again. No, it's having a major. That to me would be the thing that would almost make me want to stop, is thinking from a professional standpoint, the fact that you're hurting your playing partners and the people coming up behind you. But no, nice to see Rory win. Oh, look, I complimented him. I'll give the one other thing. Very nice. The little message to his daughter, Poppy, this shows you never give up on your dreams. Look, it's cool you won the Masters, but you're worth $1 billion and you've won tons of golf tournaments and been wildly successful since an incredibly young age and basically haven't really failed at anything in your life. I mean, this is from an outside perspective, but by any objective metric, just incredibly successful and have been since you were a teenager. Let's not use this as the inspirational moment of not giving up on your dreams. Like,
Maybe use it as the inspirational moment when you think you have everything and you still have something you want to not give up.
that would have been the bigger thing for him would have been, yes, I've got the monkey off my back when it comes to winning the Masters, but this just reaffirms the fact that the most important thing to me in life is family. And, this is nice, but it doesn't take away from how meaningful spending time with my daughter is. But sort of, don't give up on your dreams. Yeah, cool. I guess if I'm one of the 5 best people in the world at something and just one small aspect of success has eluded me for several years, then I won't stop trying either. I'll trust that sooner or later I'm bound to be successful because that's just who I am. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on him for, something that meant a lot to him, but sports have sports are there to inspire us, but the story of really successful athletes just being even more successful is not that's not one of the moments when sports are inspirational.
Just a quick sidebar. Obviously, every year, one of the great things about the Masters is how cheap the food prices are. And it just takes you $12,000 to get a ticket to the Masters, and then you can eat like a king, which is amazing. Wow, so amazing. But I don't know if you saw Coachella. There's been a lot of TikTok and other things coming out about the food prices at Coachella. They are not Masters price friendly. One of the posts was someone ordered 2 orders of tacos, which were like, I think 2 little tiny tacos, so like 4 or 5 total, a thing of nachos and 2 lemonades, and it was $107. The lemonade was $17. Or yeah, the lemonade was 17, and then someone also posted that they ordered a vodka Red Bull, and that was $25.
That doesn't actually sound that bad to me. I mean, that's outrageous.
If the
but
lemonade's 17 and the
I would have thought
vodka Red Bull is
40.
25.
Like vodka Red Bull at an event, at a sports game or at any of that, I'm obviously going to expect it to be over $20.
So I don't know
So
why the lemonade was so expensive, because sodas were 7, and sodas were 7, a White Claw was 16, and a beer was 15.
maybe this was freshly
Specialty lemonade.
squeezed, artisanal lemonade that this person was going for, which I'm all in favor of. I do love a good lemonade, but yeah, I'm not paying that much for lemonade when there are much more affordable options out there. I don't know how I feel. You're right on the Masters things. The tickets are so outrageous in the first place that it's cool that it's less expensive, but who really cares? There's a happier balance that could be found there of, I don't need the $2 sandwich. If you could charge me 40% less for the cost of entry, that would be nice. You could then charge me $6 for a sandwich if you want. I'd be okay with it. But look, I wished we had better price concessions. I will also jump on the bandwagon. It's very cool that there's no cameras and that you see those big moments.
Cell phones.
Or cameras.
Yeah, but I think cell phones is the bigger one. Like,
Yeah.
well, who fucking carries a camera around anymore?
Well, they would if you said no cell phones, but you can take a camera with you. Then you would have just the same thing. But it is cool to look at the gallery and see just people looking at what is happening and not trying to capture the photo. I think that is neat. And not to copy the Bill Simmons take two, it's sort of cool when they do flash to people seeing the scoreboard update. And we're so used to that you would have been on your phone just watching live updates and known like Rory's about to get a double bogey, and instead it's having to watch people see an old-fashioned board have an 11 stuck up and react to it. That is sort of neat.
Conversely, though, it'd be nice if they had live updates.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, okay, you're right. You're right. It is cool to see that. But at the same time, if you're paying $6,000 for a ticket, wouldn't it be kind of nice if they could show you like quickly how he got that double bogey on a screen? That'd be fucking nice. So I wasn't just able to watch the one hole that I'm standing at for $6,000.
I
How
mean,
was the
there's probably,
Masters? It was great. I watched a bunch of people hit into the 16th hole. I have no idea what else happened the rest of the round.
well, that's kind of golf in general, though, right? Like that is a little bit. That's what sucks about going to a golf tournament is
No,
that
because
on.
all other golf tournaments have screens and stuff that you can like
Yeah,
watch.
but you usually, in a lot of places, you're not going to be so well positioned that you have good access to a screen plus good access to the course. You're usually sacrificing one for the other. But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with the no screen thing. I think the one thing I would say if I did go to the Masters, uh, and maybe there are ways they do it. I'd want like one photo. I just want the one. If I went, and I know you can take photos in certain places, like if you go away from the course itself, then you can kind of,
They
but
should have
you have
like a
to,
photo booth.
you sort of have to be in hospitality or something for that. But you know what I mean? Like if I imagine taking my dad to Augusta and spending that and having that, you'd sort of want to have the chance to, could you just have one section where I can pay $15 to have my photo taken
Yeah,
with the course in the
yeah, like
background?
a photo booth.
Well, not a photo booth because, but
No, not like a photo booth in the sense where like you
so
get
me and
into a little
my
booth.
dad sat on my lap, crammed in, and then we reassured people that was Augusta. But yeah, no, I guess that pretty much wraps up. Here's, I'll have my final, I'll have my
Oh,
really Hewitt take on this. This sucks for Augusta. This sucks for the Masters now because there aren't that many players left who are very, very good and very popular who are still seeking that first Masters win. And that definitely reduces the anticipation heading. Like, is this Rory's year? Which has been like a go-to storyline for the last 5 or 6 years. There's not Sergio did it. There's not that many left. I guess people will kind of lead to the Justin Rose after the heartbreak of the playoff this time. Can he?
oh
But
no, Victor Hovland.
no, but there's up and coming golfers who definitely might be able to get there. But there's, you know what I mean? Like the list of really well established sort of household names from a golfing perspective who have been around for a while and who haven't won a Masters, but who are still legitimately competitive. There's not that many of them left to really drive the will it be his year talk. The will it be his year next year is going to be scraping the barrel.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it matters so much for something like the Masters. I mean, I always watch the Masters, and I didn't watch it in particular because I was wanting to see Rory win. But I don't watch much other golf besides the majors. I think the majors you kind of watch. Although I did have my money on Rory, so I was watching slightly to see him win, but not so he could win, so he could get his trophy, so I could get my prize.
Okay. All right. It's an interesting little supply chain you've created for yourself there.
Which, Eddie, I have now thrown fully on Bayern Munich to qualify for the Champions League.
Oh boy. So yeah, we have our little chat off podcast. I do think that there is decent value in Bayern Munich, who I mean will kick themselves for losing that first
5 to
leg.
2,
Yeah, I think.
or plus 240 or 250 for American listeners.
Yeah, I think they should be a little shorter than that. I would have expected them to be under 2-1. I would have thought, but I
XG told
also,
me they won that match, even though they lost it.
yeah. So let's see if Bet365 will accept XG as proof of victory. But yeah, I don't. There's obviously not. It's a pretty dull second set of fixtures. So the Bayern Munich one it's kind of the only one you're really looking at of what
It's
could possibly happen here.
It's the only one with the caveat of if Real Madrid come out and can put up 2 goals in the first 30 minutes, then I think you've got a match there.
You do. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty strong caveat, but
If they can put up 2 in the first 5 minutes, it's a
I mean,
match.
if Aston Villa are 5-0 up at halftime, we'll feel pretty good about them too. Can I start throwing those caveats out? But yeah, look, If Real Madrid are 2-0 up at halftime, it's certainly game on. I don't know. I probably still wouldn't say they're favorites at that point, and that's a really bad position to be in, to say I could make you 2-0 up at halftime, and I'm still not certain you're favorites. I think if they're 2-0 up, they'd suddenly be like 6-4 to qualify, and Arsenal would be 4-6. So, and as I also said, I don't think Real Madrid will be able to keep a clean sheet, because they are obviously missing a couple players defensively. They just haven't looked very solid recently. That's not really because of some huge endorsement for Arsenal necessarily. It's more just my issues I have with Real Madrid. And so they're going to need to score 5.
What I'm a little disappointed in is your lack of enthusiasm for wanting to see this happen.
To see Arsenal blow it?
I thought when I texted you and said Real Madrid and Bayern Munich to qualify is whatever it was it like 20, 25 to 1 or something, almost like that?
30 to 1, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you would have said, I love that bet. That's a bet I can get behind emotionally. At least that I would have been happy to see. But you don't even seem enthused for a potential epic Arsenal collapse. Because wouldn't that be what you can then rub it in on the next podcast? Look at you Arsenal fans. Got so excited about a 3-0 win in the first leg. And what happened now? I'd have to listen for 20 fucking minutes about it.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I'll just sit in silence. You can do all that.
And you know what? You can't even give me a little excitement when I ask you about the bet.
Because I don't think it stands much chance, so it's hard for me to get too excited. I don't really like Real Madrid either, so this is I don't want Real Madrid, because the historic Real Madrid comeback would be just as annoying to listen to as Arsenal qualifying for the Champions League semifinals. The thing that I struggle with this one is I don't like PSG. So,
wow. Do you like anybody?
I quite like Bayern Munich. I don't mind. I'm indifferent to Inter Milan. I'm indifferent to Dortmund. I don't really like Barcelona. And I'm indifferent to Aston Villa. If I could choose, I would be very happy with a Bayern Munich Aston Villa final. I could sleep well with that one. And then I would just be putting everything on Bayern Munich. And assuming Bayern Munich win, it's a happy day for me. Yeah, I just don't think Real Madrid have much chance of pulling off the comeback. And so, yeah, I can't. Even if you tell me 50 to 1 on that double, I don't trust Real Madrid. I don't totally trust Bayern Munich. So it's not great to be trying to get enthusiastic about a bet where I could see both legs losing. You're asking me to.
But you could be emotionally enthusiastic. You could say, I would love to see that happen, but I don't think it will.
I think Aston Villa have a better chance of qualifying than Real Madrid do. So I could get more enthusiastic about the Aston Villa to qualify, Bayern Munich to qualify. And you know why I'd also get? Because that checks off one of my big betting rules, which is those are different nights. So that means Tuesday night, you're a big Aston Villa fan. And if that wins, you then feel like, wow, I've got a great bet on Bayern Munich to qualify. Whereas the heartbreaking...
And if that loses, you're like, fuck it, I'm just double down now on Bayern Munich.
Yes, exactly. I'll make that money back. That's okay. But because the heartbreak for the Bayern Munich Real Madrid bet would be either Real Madrid pull off the comeback and Bayern Munich just no show, and you've wasted the really risky part of the bet on Real Madrid, or Bayern Munich are in complete control. Real Madrid sort of flirt with the comeback, so it's 2-0 at halftime, but then Arsenal score in the 75th minute and it's game over. But you kind of felt like you had hope for a moment. Yeah, I'm not. Look, I think the reality is I think all 4 teams that are currently winning their ties will go through. But Bayern Munich have the best chance of pulling off a comeback, which is not an interesting take.
Yeah, it is a little disappointed there isn't more at stake, at least from a viewer standpoint. Most of these matches are pretty sealed.
Yeah, like tomorrow, I'll watch a little bit of the Aston Villa PSG match, but if it's 1-0 PSG, I'm just not watching the rest of the Champions League.
If Aston Villa can go up 2-0 30 minutes in, then we've got a match.
I mean, if they're 4-0 up in the first 7 minutes, then I think they'll feel really good about themselves.
Any other sports topics? I have one. I don't know if you saw. But Paige Beckers from UConn signed with Unrivaled. Have you been invested in this Unrivaled development?
No, I'm aware of it, but I have not been closely monitoring it.
So basically, it is a 3-on-3 tournament. I should say 3-on-3 league for women's basketball that takes place 8 weeks in the WNBA offseason. And she'll make more money in 1 year playing in that league than she will for her first 4 years in the WNBA. So it's interesting. I think I don't know what it would do to the WNBA if it became successful, because it's kind of coming on the heels of the NBA, where like you need WNBA, you need the WNBA to exist in a way, because it's just in the off season. But it's it's very different in the sense that it's 6 teams, so only the 36 top WNBA players. The salaries are much higher. They have ownership, so they have equity in the league when you play. I think they said, I want to say, I forget how much it's fair pay, so everyone makes the same amount, and I think it's going to be around somewhere around like 250K or 300K, something like that. So it's some players aren't paid more; everyone's going to be paid the same. It's a decent idea. I don't dislike the idea.
I don't, but we run a serious risk here of just being oversaturated with. I don't think the solution to fixing women's basketball is more women's basketball. Like, I don't think, and
But
I
maybe
get
it's finding the right style.
maybe, but then are they really willing? Because here's what I fear, and I understand why. Because this goes back to the discussions that have been had for a long time of why don't you play with lower hoops, lower baskets? Now, the practical reason for not doing that is obviously if you're training or you're a young girl learning how to play basketball, it's pretty hard to either always ask for the height of the basket to be adjusted or to go to parks where you can't even adjust the height. So, you're then practicing. You're not getting access to areas that'll easily allow you to practice on the right dimensions. But aside from that, one of the big arguments they use is they want to be taken seriously and they want to play on the same terms and be viewed as, just as good of athletes, just as good as basketball players as men. And that's fine, but that makes me think that there's no way they would really seriously allow a 3-on-3 alternative to become the way we consume women's basketball, because that would make women's basketball sort of gimmicky. And I think they really want to desperately avoid that, which I get. But that means that they'll love the success of this, but then we'll just have to endlessly hear how the success for this means the WNBA should be more popular than it is, or that WNBA players should be paid more than they are. And we can get too much. And I'm not limiting this to women's basketball, right, or women's sports. I feel that some way in football, that we just have too many competitions, too many games, like the World Club Championship and stuff. It's like, it's enough already. Give me 4 weeks without football. It's okay. I'll survive. And cricket's the worst proponent of this, where there was the success of the IPL in 2020s, and it's like, well, now we got to have a South African T20 competition. Now we have to have an Australian T20 competition, the Caribbean T20, and it's just
hey, leave the Caribbean T20 out of this.
And it's just endless T20 competitions. And what we found is people's appetite for one of them does not mean that they will be consumers of the next version. And so it's cool, but I feel like they should be focusing more on how can we improve the WNBA itself, this just feels like a quick money making scheme for people piggybacking off the popularity of Caitlin Clark and some other women's basketball players to like make a quick buck, strike while the iron's hot within women's sports, and they'll be long gone as soon as the returns don't make sense. And the people who will be left holding the bag, unfortunately, are the athletes themselves, who will then be wondering why the future that they saw for themselves in terms of fame and fortune is not there.
Well, it is co-founded by WNBA players, so I think Breanna Stewart is one of the founders of this.
Yeah, but whatever that means. I could get 7 athletes to co-found a company with me tomorrow because they love calling themselves founders because they all want to, pretend to be business people on a daily basis.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, that's easy. The company will fail immediately. But look, we try and get athletes on to come on the podcast, and the best method for doing so is LinkedIn, because a number of them that have dumb LinkedIn profiles where they're just like NBA player / founder. It's like, you haven't founded shit. That's fine. You're an NBA player, and occasionally people ask you to give money because they really want an NBA player to have to show up to board meetings. They don't care about Andre Iguodala's insights into the world of business. But anyway, it's so yes, you'll get these people to share their sign up for a new venture because this is their path to like, who wouldn't? Hey, do you want to invest $100,000 and also say that you've like co-signed on the idea of this 3v3 tournament? Because if it becomes huge, this is the only way you're going to be worth 200, 300, 400 million dollars. Yeah, we'd all try that, right? But yeah, rant over when it comes to
Women's
sports
sports
founders. Well, it's not really women's sports. I like women's sports, but it's more the business side of it. Any other sporting topics? I don't think I have any lined up.
No, I don't either. I mean, we're getting eerily close to the NFL draft, so that'll be an exciting time, especially as a Giants fan, seeing how they're going to blow that pick. I'm super excited.
It's a tough draft class to get too excited about. That's the thing, right? Sometimes you usually at least have one completely nailed on superstar that you're looking forward to seeing where they're drafted, who they go to, and obviously there'll be some really great players to come out of it. It just feel less certain about who they'll be and where they'll go.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what pick makes me happy as a Giants fan. I don't think there is a pick that really will get me super excited.
Any then non-sporting topics to cover?
Season finale of The Pit.
I've not seen it, I'm afraid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was away this weekend, so I haven't managed to see it.
Oh
that we will have to save that for the next episode because
season premiere of The Last of Us.
Yeah, well, we'll do a heavy TV.
Oh
focus.
My God, what is wrong
I've not
with
seen.
you?
I was traveling. I don't know what you want
What
me
do
to
you
do.
do
I was
when you
away.
travel? Do you sit there and read books like a loser?
Yeah. Or listen to podcasts, which we should highly encourage our listeners to do as well.
Oh, perfect viewing opportunity. Got a nice 2-hour train ride. You could have watched Dr. Robbie finish off the season strong or not strong.
I don't really enjoy watching a screen on a train. That I'm not like. I like a built-in screen.
Okay.
But I'm not a big fan, or on a plane, I'm not going to get my laptop out and watch something on my iPad or on my laptop on a plane. I will only consume things that are a part of the
Do you have
built-in
really
display.
bad vision? Is this
No.
Have we highlighted something? Can you just not see an iPhone screen?
Well, I'm definitely not watching it on an iPhone. I'm not a psycho watching it. I'm not a psycho watching a TV show on my 4-inch display. But I don't know. I'll get out. I'll do work on my laptop, on either a train or a plane. But if I'm going to watch something, I want it on a built-in display.
I guess we can close then with you had to go pick up some golf clubs because you are playing in an upcoming tournament where the winner takes home $5 million.
Tournaments, see, I don't. There are prizes. It's tournaments. It's a golf day, but they got an
A golf
email
date?
day.
Day. Okay.
I got an email which says that one of the sponsors of the golf day is a racetrack or cars dealership, and so they'll have a McLaren sitting in front of the sort of where you come into the golf course to show off.
Do you get it if you hit a hole in one?
I made this joke. I said, "Do I get it for a hole in one, or if I break the course record?" And it was not well received by the organizers of the day.
You are no longer playing.
They made it very, very clear that this was not a prize.
See, now that you know why I think I can see why they didn't like it, because it just shows me that this is a weak golf day, because in their mind, I bet you what they thought is like, look at these people. They're going to pay to have a car out there, but they're not going to pay enough to have that car actually out for the potential win if someone were to do something. So it's kind of like a show of power without showing any actual power.
I mean, I do think you may as well just jokingly have that out there as a hit a hole in one. A McLaren might be a little bit of a strong move. Throw in a BMW Series 3 and just say, hey, look.
Throw in a used Toyota Camry. I'll still fucking take it home if I win it.
Oh, you desperately need one of those, so of course you would.
Yeah, maybe not a Camry. They have bad transmission.
Do you want to put yours up and then immediately tell them it comes with a $10,000 bill to get it off the lot?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
But yeah, no, I think throw in something outrageous and just desperately hope that no one hits a hole in one. Which, I mean, look, no one is going to, but you just have to put up a $20,000 prize, not cash prize, but some object that you don't need to buy ahead of time, and then just be like, hey, look, if they get it, they get it.
It reminds me of we just watched Semi Pro a few days ago, and there's two scenes. The one scene where he has like the stoner guy can win $20,000 if he hits the half court shot, and he hits it, and he doesn't have the money, so he's like, "You've won this big check that says 20,000 on it." and then later on, if they score, it was so funny. Like if they score randomly, like 107 points, everyone in the stands wins free corn dogs, but he doesn't have the corn dogs. So he's like, we can't fucking score. I don't have the corn dogs. I don't got them. That's like what's going to happen at this tournament.
Yeah, it's just a guy turning on a fan as your ball rolls towards the hole on the par 3.
So getting back to it then, you're obviously in big preparation mode. You went to the range. The last time you went to the range, I embarrassingly outdrove you in our competition. How is it looking nowadays? Can we break 200?
Oh, so I had to set my handicap, which is a challenge because obviously I do not play regularly enough to have an official handicap. And I always feel a bit iffy because I know if things click.
You don't want to sandbag.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. But at the same time, I haven't played a full round of golf now in a year. And yeah, I'm always disappointed if I play around and I shoot over, let's say 85 on most courses. And, I've had a fair few number of rounds in the 70s, but I can shoot 100. Like we're not ruling that out, having not played around in a year. There could be some lost balls and some catastrophic decisions made. I could be the Rory McIlroy lowlights for 18 holes. So I think I'm going to set my handicap at 20, which I feel is the top edge of the kind of top range of respectability. If I say anything over 20, people will just, because this is sort of a networking.
So if you put it at 20, what does that mean you would normally shoot a round of golf around?
I think sort of 95-ish, basically, because it's not.
Sounds like you're sandbagging.
A little bit. but then I could be really bad. So it does work both ways. But
And how does it? So I never fully understood because I never golfed enough to do handicaps. It would be like each hole on the golf course is ranked, and on those holes it'll tell you whether you get like 1 or 2 strokes depending on your handicap. Isn't that how it works? Something like that?
yeah, so it will be Stableford based, I think. So you get a number of points per hole. So with
Oh, so it's like the winner isn't off of the round, technically like the score. It's like the score off
number
of
of
their
points you
handicap.
get.
So it's some like multiplier kind of.
Yeah. So
Got it.
I would be playing like a par 5, and it would basically be saying, I don't know, it's boring to explain, and it's going to infuriate the golfers who are listening, but it would make it easier for me to get a really, really high score, and I would be likely to get a score that's almost unobtainable for a low handicap unless they, were hitting a couple hole-in-ones, like it would put me in a strong position to win the tournament based on the scoring format. But yeah, I think 20, because it's mostly a networking day, and part
Yeah,
of that
it's a
is
good way to it's a good way to network. To fucking lowball everyone and fucking blow them out of the water. Network this, assholes.
never negotiate a contract with me. Got ya. But what I do think it would mean is that you want people to be like, oh, let's see what this guy's about. And if I stroll up and go handicap 35, immediately I don't want to play with that guy. That guy looks like it sounds like he's going to suck. So, yeah, it's, we'll see how it goes.
So what was the furthest drive you hit on the range?
Oh, I mean, I don't really know. I didn't hit that many drivers.
You're going to keep the driver in the bag for the tournament.
It was definitely a couple 320, 330 plus for sure. My last one went about 30 yards. It just it clipped right off the top of the club and just skied it. It went probably 70 yards high and 30 yards forward. And I put it back in and I said, that club's ready. That one's good to go. Don't want to waste another good one on the driving range.
Are you a hybrider or a traditional 3-wood? 3-wood,
I don't
5-wood?
play with woods. I'm pure irons. I am.
Don't have a driver.
Driver is the only non-iron that I will be using this round. I have a 4-iron, which is as low as I go. And
Wait, you don't have like a 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron?
No. And I back myself that even on a long par 5 driver 4-iron, I'll be on the green. That's okay. There's no, yeah, so in my bag that I'm taking, I've got a driver. I've got a 56-degree wedge, a pitching wedge, 9-iron, 8-iron, 7-iron, 6-iron, 5-iron, 4-iron. That's it. We're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. Lee bad.
And a putter as well, obviously.
Well, I hope you can win that McLaren. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll be sitting in it next time we record.
I hope you get a hole-in-one and then just demand the keys for the McLaren.
I'll certainly demand a really good prize. Like, guys, I thought I was getting the McLaren. You at least have to give me something awesome. Like,
I sent that email asking if the winner gets the McLaren. You said yes.
Yeah, I got it here. Not edited. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
All right. I guess we'll call it a day. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.